Hello B.A. Part 1 students. Yesterday I had uploaded a video on the metaphor, which is an important literary term in the prescribed syllabus. Today I shall be discussing the simile, which is equally important, and this literary device or the figure of speech has a 5-mark question of short notes during your annual exam. Besides, whenever you read any kind of poetry, especially the ones prescribed in your first paper, that is English Poetry and Drama, you come across this word simile because during the analysis and critical appreciation of the poems, you are asked to identify the similes or point out the similes. So it is important that we understand what a simile is. Before I go any further, let me just tell you by way of a help that simile is quite like a metaphor. That is, a simile as a literary device or a figure of speech is also used to make a comparison between two different or unlike or dissimilar things, and so is a metaphor. They have some slight differences about which I shall tell you later in the course of this video. So let us first find out from where has the term simile originated. The term simile is a Latin word which is called similis. Similis, S-I-M-I-L-I-S. Similis, it is a Latin word similis, which means similar or like a certain thing. And a metaphor is, as I told you yesterday, is a word, Greek word metaphorein, meaning to transfer or carry over. I told you that a metaphor transfers or carries over meaning or a certain quality of one object to another person or object. So this will be a little clear by an example. When I am using a simile, I will say, my love is like a red rose. Here the beauty of the beloved is being compared to the beauty of a red rose using the word like or as. And when I say the same thing metaphorically or using a metaphor, I will say, my love is a rose. My love is a rose. Here I am not using the words as or like for comparison. We will get into this a little more in detail in a short while, but let us first look into the definition of a simile now. A simile, as I told you, is a literary term or a figure of speech that directly compares two different or unlike or dissimilar things. But this literary device also shows a common quality between the two things that are being compared. For example, the camel is like the ship of the desert. This is a very common example. So the camel is like the ship of the desert. Here the camel is being compared to the ship. They seem to be dissimilar or unlike. There is no similarity between them. Then what is the similarity? Well, the similarity is that just like the camel is very sturdy and stable in spite of the heat and the difficulties of a desert, similarly the ship, it is being compared to the ship which also is sturdy and it is able to overcome all the difficulties that come up during its journey in the sea. So I hope you can see the difference. I can give you some more examples. It is as hot as hell. A place which is hot can be compared to hell. As hot as hell. He was as busy as a bee during the festival season. As busy as the bee. Indian soldiers are as brave as lions. Her cheeks are red like a rose. Raju is as slow as a snail. Did you notice something in all the above similes that I have used? Well, you will notice the use of the words as or like in each of the similes that I just read out. Let me read a few of them again. Her cheeks are red like a rose. Like, I have used the word like. Raju is as slow as a snail. I have used the word as twice in the second simile. So now we can conclude that the use of the words as and like in each of these similes help us to show the similarity between two unlike or dissimilar things. There is no similarity between cheeks and rose. Is there any similarity between cheeks and rose? Yes. If we are using it as a simile, we can say that the cheeks can be as beautiful and as red as a rose. Is there a similarity between soldiers and lions? Apparently no, but at a deeper level, yes. The bravery of both is a common characteristic here. Is there a similarity between Raju and snail? No, apparently no, superficially no, but the deeper meaning is that the speed of working of Raju is as slow as the snail. You know that a snail moves very slowly. So the qualities of the rose or snail or lion are compared with persons with similar qualities. Again, there is something very interesting, and this will also remove some confusion if you have in your mind, and that is that listen to the following sentences. Ram danced like Sham. Ram danced like Sham. Is there a use of a simile here? Think carefully, and the answer will be no, because Ram and Sham are two people. They are similar. And how have we defined the simile? We have said that a simile compares the qualities of two apparently different or unlike things. Look at another example. Sheila is as beautiful as Kavita. Is there the use of a simile here? Again, the answer is no, because Sheila and Kavita are two girls, and girls are of a similar group. Now, though we identify like or as in these sentences, yet they are simple comparisons between two people. But in a simile, the comparison is between two different things using the words as or like. So I hope you are able to see the difference where you are using a simile and where it is a simple comparison between two people. Since I had uploaded a video on the metaphor, and if you listen to both these videos together, you will be able to conclude certain differences between similes and metaphors, and I have also listed them for you. Well, in a simile, there is the use of the words as and like to directly compare two unlike or different things. In a simile, the comparison is direct. Okay, Raju is as slow as a snail. So she is beautiful like a rose. So the comparison is direct. Whereas in a metaphor, the comparison is indirect or implied. Therefore, there is no use of the words as or like. I'll give you a small example. When I say, my life is like a box of chocolates. My life is like a box of chocolates. Here I am using the word like, and I am comparing two different things, life and box of chocolates, to tell you that my life has no problems it is a very sweet and unproblematic life. So here I am using the literary device or the figure of speech simile. My life is like a box of chocolates. But when I have to use the same phrase in a metaphor, I will say my life is a box of chocolates. Again, there is the comparison, but the comparison is indirect. So this is one big difference between a simile and a metaphor. Now the second difference is simile uses connecting words. I have already told you that connecting words like as or like, and metaphor is a figure of speech or literary device where a word or phrase represents an idea to show a likeness between two different things. Here it is implied, and it is in the way of a word or a phrase that represents the idea to show likeness between two different things. Again, I can give you an example. When I'm using the same phrase in a simile, I will say he was as aggressive as a tiger in the argument. He was as aggressive as a tiger in the argument. This is the use of simile, because I'm using the words as to compare. But when I use the same phrase in a metaphor, I will say he was a tiger in the argument. Here again, there is no use of the word like or as, and we can say that a word or a phrase here is representing an idea to show likeness between two different things, a person, a boy, and a lion, and their aggressiveness is here brought together, or the likeness is shown in an indirect way. And the third difference is simile creates pictures by exemplifying it. Simile makes an example. My life is like a box of chocolates. It's like giving an example. But in a metaphor, the metaphor suggests meaning by creating an image for the readers. My life is a box of chocolates. So the readers get the feeling that someone's life is without any problems. It is a very sweet and smooth life. The other difference is simile just presents two things as being similar, okay, whereas the metaphor is very subtle. It shows very thin or slight or nuanced differences, and there is a stronger rhetorical sense because the two dissimilar things are equated in comparison. For example, I can give you some more examples of similes. He was as blind as a bat without glasses. As blind as a bat without glasses. The kids were fighting like cats and dogs. He swims like a fish. So the fight of the kids is compared to cats and dogs. A person's poor eyesight is compared to the blindness of a bat, or a person's swimming skills or expertise in swimming is compared to that of a fish. But here the comparison is direct. Now, finally, why does a poet use, any author can use a simile, but poets use it more frequently. So, why does a poet use a simile? The purpose or the importance of using this tool, you can call it a tool, you can call it a figure of speech, or you can call it a literary device. Why do poets use it? Well, there are a number of reasons, and you will be impressed to know why poets use similes. Well, first of all, to indicate similarity between two different objects. We have already discussed that in detail. It also highlights a certain quality of a person or an object. So, for example, when I say her cheeks are red like a rose, so what am I highlighting or what am I pointing out? I am pointing out the beautiful cheeks, the beautiful red cheeks of a girl which are like a rose. So I am highlighting the quality of beauty by using the simile like a rose. Now it makes the language of the poet more creative. Okay, suppose I say she's very beautiful and her beauty can be compared to none. This doesn't sound very interesting or appealing. But when I say she is beautiful like a rose, it makes the line more appealing, more attractive, and more creative. So it makes the language of the poet more creative. It conveys the sentiments of the poet with effective word pictures. Okay, box of chocolates, blind as a bat, fighting like cats and dogs. So it creates word pictures for the readers, and it adds or enhances the attraction of the poem. At the same time, it allows the readers to relate to the feelings and personal experience of the poets, and it strongly and effectively describes the state of mind or mood of the poet, and it attracts attention and increases the appeal. So today we have discussed the literary term simile. I thought it was important because henceforth when I upload videos of poetries, and when I say a poet is using a metaphor or a simile, you would be able to understand what I am trying to say. Thank you for listening to my discussion on a simile. Until we meet for another discussion, bye bye.